First of all, welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
I'm delighted to be here. It's a beautiful city.
In reading your resume, I was astounded to see all that you're involved in. I mean, you're virtually a female reenactor, if you will, except you do yours on stage.
Right. And most of what I do is in schools, actually. I travel all over the country performing in schools, usually talking about the American Revolution. That's where my strongest background is. So I'm in Oklahoma for almost 2 weeks performing in schools. But it's fun to have the chance to do the character I'm going to do tonight because she's so specifically relevant to Oklahoma. So,
well, tell me then, how do the children react?
They are slack-jawed. They're just amazed, and they believe that I am the characters that I say I am. They have the most amazing questions, and they're just a joy to work with. Even the squirreliest group during the introduction, as soon as I come out in character, fall completely silent and they're transfixed. So it's great fun.
You know, Oklahoma is one of those states that was pretty well divided in terms of the war itself. So depending on what side of the road you're standing, you're going to get different interpretations and different understandings. And several generations removed now, all of those feelings have just kind of quietly gone away, except for the folks that have a few teeth. But you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Live in an old school bus. Anyway, certainly as you travel, you must encounter folks that from time to time are generally wrapped up in the Civil War era.
Yes, yeah, and there are a lot of people who are really interested in the Civil War, and that makes it a challenging time to talk about because, frankly, there are people who know more about it than I do. But what I try to do with any time period is show as many different perspectives as I can. So for the Revolution, I have loyalists, patriot, and undecided. For the Civil War, I have Confederate and Union. And I try to help them understand the humans on either side. You know, what were the motivations people had? What were their understandings of the issues, and why did they feel the way they felt? Because generally there are some good reasons for whatever your perspective was.
I don't want to let this opportunity pass without asking you about your husband, because he's involved in historic gardens. How does that work?
Well, we both, we met at Colonial Williamsburg in Virginia, and he is a landscape historian and has done a great deal of research on the 18th century exchange of plant materials between Europe and America and what was growing and what wasn't yet and that kind of thing. He just retired this week, but he spent the last 15 years working in costume every day at Colonial Williamsburg. And that's where I was for many years before I quit the day job and started writing plays and traveling around the country.
You must have pictures of Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson posted on the wall, given what they brought this country from overseas. You are here to portray whom?
Alice Grierson, whose husband was the commander of the 10th Cavalry, the Buffalo Soldiers, who were African-American soldiers. They were stationed here in Oklahoma, in Texas, and Kansas, and then eventually further west. And the Griersons were really an unusual couple for their time because Benjamin Grierson saw he actually insisted that rather than being called the colored troops of the 10th Cavalry, they were just the 10th Cavalry. They were soldiers like anybody else. He had great respect for them. And he also had enough sympathy for the Native Americans that he got himself in trouble with Washington, D.C.
Really?
He was pretty well convinced that most of the troubles they were having with the Indians had to do with treaties that had been made and broken repeatedly, and
by the white government.
By the United States government, yeah. And he felt like if he were in their shoes, he'd be angry too. So he was there to enforce the policies, but he treated the Native people as humanely as he could under the circumstances, and tried to only engage combatants. Had his men try to never engage with women, children, old men, just with combatants. And so that made him different.
Yeah, probably everybody recognized that too very quickly. Where does the phrase Buffalo Soldier come from?
From what I've read, and I think there's a little bit of disagreement over it, but most people believe that the Cheyenne people began calling those African-American troops Buffalo Soldiers, mostly because of the texture of their hair that reminded them of buffalo wool, but also because they were such fierce, determined warriors and strong like buffalo.
It's pretty incredible, I mean, the legacy that you're carrying along. What is the lady's name that you'll portray tonight?
Alice Grierson.
Well, if I might ask Alice a question or two. Could you talk to me a little bit about your husband and about the living conditions that you're currently under?
Well, sir, I've been here in the West since 1866, so that's 7 years now. The life of a military officer on the frontier is really one of glittering misery, if I may be so honest about it. We officers' wives are here to try to keep some semblance of civilization for the men and to make their lives more comfortable, but the climate here is extreme, and the conditions under which we labor are those that you can't imagine in civilian life. Anytime an officer arrives on the base who outranks your husband, he can take your house should he choose to do so. So we ladies are constantly in a position of lightly settling in, but not too comfortably, because we know the next officer who arrives may put us out of our house.
So don't get comfortable.
Exactly, exactly. And trying to raise children in a place where there's very little education. And frankly, the doctors know much more about sawing off legs than they do about taking care of young mothers. So we face our challenges, but are proud to support our husbands in what they do.
I have heard over the years that officers' wives, as they moved into this part of the country, were in large part responsible for the penetration of opera, symphonic music, writing, so many elements of the arts. Is that true?
Well, that is true, and point of fact, I have to say that my husband has a great deal to do with that here. My husband was a band leader and musician. By the time he was 13 years old, he was a band leader in Youngstown, Ohio.
Really?
So yes, there's a great deal of music here at Fort Gibson. Dances quite constantly, and he has a band here at the fort that is composed of the Buffalo Soldiers, and that makes life on the frontier a bit more tolerable.
Makes it bearable.
Yes, it does.
Well, quite frankly, I don't know how you tolerate the heat and the humidity, because we are known for terrible summers and unruly springs, as you've probably noticed with the tornadoes that move through.
Yes, yes. I have found the weather terrifying on more than one occasion. But being with my husband under the worst of circumstances is better than being separated from him back at home, where it's safer and more comfortable. A family should be together.
And so, communication being what it is, you don't know for weeks what he's going through.
That's true. At present, he is down overseeing the building of a new fort farther south. It will be called Fort Sill, I think. And it has been weeks that he's been gone, and it may be 3 or 4 weeks more at least. So even though we have followed him here to the frontier, we still spend less time with him than we would like to.
Is it safe to assume then that family back east you're in communication with through letters to let them know what's happening?
Yes, but the letters come so infrequently sometimes. I'll admit, from time to time, I've been very angry at my husband and very angry at my son Charlie, who is back east at school, thinking that they've not bothered to write. And weeks will go by, and suddenly 7 or 8 letters come at once. And then I feel terrible for having been angry at them at all. But the mail is dreadful.
It is that.
It is.
Well, listen, thank you for following him, and I use that with all due respect to this part of the world. And thank you for adding a little brightness and a little cheer to the fort, because God knows they need it.
Well, I thank you for your kindness, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.